Hi, this is Brendan from Watto Training, and in this trainer tutorial we look at the under the bonnet check for C-class learners. What is covered in this tutorial? Engine oil, radiator and coolant, automatic transmission, brake fluid, washer fluid, power steering fluid, belts and hoses, and the battery. This tutorial is general in nature. It does not outline how to repair or service a vehicle. It is a basic vehicle check at introductory level. Make sure learners check the owner's manual for information about their specific vehicle. Use a mechanic, and under the bonnet checks are not part of the Q-Safe driving test in Queensland. Key instructional tips for training delivery. First of all, get attention from your audience. Know your message. Know your audience. Be positive. Make eye contact. Keep it simple. Keep it safe. Be concise. Be clear, and pace your instructions. Consider your kinesthetic learners when delivering training. They learn best when they can use tactile, that is hands-on experiences, and carry out a physical activity to practice applying new information. Consider your teaching process. Create a clear lesson plan. Make the material matter. Deliver the session with purpose and passion. Have a learner-centered focus. Reinforce with repetition and feedback. Prioritize your content. Prioritizing is vital in teaching. This is the process of determining what is most important in terms of what to include and what to leave out of a training session. Ask yourself, what does the student need to know now? What do they need to know next to be able to progress safely through my learning program? Am I in a safe location? Conduct a risk assessment. Step 1, identify hazards. Step 2, assess the risks. Step 3, control the risks. And step 4, review your control measures. Do I need personal protective equipment, also known as PPE? Again, if you take a look at the right of screen, you'll see the steps in the risk management process. Appropriate PPE must be worn when conducting vehicle inspections. The purpose of personal protective equipment is to reduce the exposure to hazards when engineering controls and administrative controls are not feasible or effective to reduce these risks to acceptable levels. PPE has the serious limitation that it does not eliminate the hazard at the source and may result in people being exposed to the hazard if equipment fails. Eye protection is protective gear for the eyes and sometimes face designed to reduce the risk of injury. Mechanics gloves help protect from incidental bumps and scrapes while maintaining flexibility and comfort. Many hazardous substances and chemicals are present in a mechanic's workshop, but especially vehicle emissions, engine oil, coolant, power steering fluid, and brake fluid. Battery acid is still an irritant. If left on the skin, it will eventually cause irritation and itching. It should be washed off. If left on too long before washing, the skin will become dry, but there will be no severe burns. Injuries caused by slips, trips and falls are one of the top 5 most common workplace injuries. Hazards include service pits, falling objects and poorly maintained, uneven, slippery or unstable walkways, floors, stairs and landings. Equipment, boxes, materials and tools should be stored so as not to present a trip hazard. Confined spaces. Working in confined spaces such as service pits present hazards around air quality, fire dangers, crushing and trapping, and noise levels. Appropriate safe controls should be in place to mitigate these risks, including never working alone, good ventilation and respirators. Know your limits. Remember to only operate within the scope of your abilities. There is no substitute to a professional. The scope of the under the bonnet check in this tutorial is at a basic level, and the simple advice is, if unsure, don't. Get the help of a professional. Okay, this is a sample of an under the bonnet. This is a Hyundai i30 diesel. So we can see the components from the top left, and we'll go around like it's a clock. Engine coolant reservoir, engine oil filler cap, brake fluid reservoir, fuse box, battery, auto transaxle oil dipstick, engine oil dipstick, and windshield washer fluid reservoir. Oil is your car's most important fluid. Engine components spin thousands of times a minute, and oil keeps everything moving smoothly. The best time to check the engine oil is when the car is warm and on level ground. Stop the engine and wait for a few minutes for the oil to settle. Remove the dipstick and wipe it clean. Push the dipstick all the way in. Wait a second and then withdraw it and check the level. The oil should be between the two marks. If the level is below minimum, add oil, but check that you use the correct grade of oil for your engine. This should be indicated in your owner's manual. Otherwise, contact a professional. Over time, your engine will lose oil, and if it runs out completely, it will seize the engine. Repair costs will be very expensive. Radiator and coolant. With all the combustion and friction that happens in an engine, it produces a lot of heat. Coolant works to keep everything cool by absorbing engine heat and dissipating it through the radiator. Maintaining the correct coolant level prevents overheating. Check the coolant level in the clear plastic tank. It should be above the minimum mark when the engine is cold, or somewhere between the half and maximum marks with the engine at operating temperature. Check the coolant level at the radiator when the engine has cooled down, otherwise scalding water could spray out as you open the reservoir. In automatic vehicles, transmission fluid serves a similar purpose as oil in the engine. It lubricates and cools the components inside your transmission. The fluid level should be in the hot range of the dipstick after the engine and transaxle are at normal operating temperature. Inspect the fluid level as well as its condition. It should be amber or red in color and feel smooth. Like with other fluids, if it's dark, cloudy or gritty, it means there is a problem that needs to be inspected. Some cars have a dipstick, however others require a professional mechanic to inspect the fluid condition. Brake fluid. When you step on the brake pedal, a plunger pressurizes the brake fluid inside the lines, which causes the brake pads to clamp on the rotors and slow your car. On most cars, you can see the brake and clutch fluid levels through the transparent plastic reservoirs. If not, remove the cap and check the level inside. The level should be maintained between the maximum and minimum marks. Only top up the reservoir with new brake fluid of the correct grade. Cars should not consume brake fluid. Low brake fluid can indicate either a leak in your brake line or worn brake surfaces. If your brake fluid is low, have the car checked to find out why. A car with low brake fluid or leaking brake fluid could fail to stop. Windscreen washer fluid. A plastic reservoir for the washer fluid is almost always mounted in the engine compartment. Check your owner's manual for location. Fill the bottle with clean water and, if you want, a special windscreen detergent. Do not use household detergents for this purpose. It could potentially harm your vehicle's paint or wiper blades. Power steering fluid. This will generally be a plastic reservoir. Read it, and you can read the measurement through the walls. The level should be checked with the engine stopped and after the car has been driven for a while to warm the fluid. Check the car's handbook for reservoir location, checking procedure and fluid type. Power steering makes maneuvering easier at any speed than old cars. Many power steering systems are hydraulic, using pressurized fluid to make turning the steering wheel easier. Some cars are now equipped with electronic power steering and will not have a reservoir. Belts and hoses. Ensure none are loose or squeaking on startup. Check that your radiator, heater hoses, fuel lines, pipes, brake lines, and or power steering lines are not damaged. To do this, just trace the pipe from one end to the other and feel for any strains that may reveal a leak. Battery. If the battery leads are loose, make sure they are clean. Check if the battery leads are loose and make sure they are clean. Check the state of charge indicator on top of the battery that will give you an on-the-spot diagnosis of the battery condition. The battery produces explosive gas and corrosive fluid, so it is important that you are very careful when checking and handling the battery. You must not smoke anywhere near the battery or check the battery near flames or paint. Do not bring the battery close anywhere near to your eyes, skin, or clothes. To ensure your vehicle stays in a safe condition, make routine checks at regular intervals in line with the vehicle manufacturer's handbook. The extent at which you maintain your vehicle will be in line with your knowledge, skill, qualifications, and experience. Service your vehicle in line with the vehicle manufacturer's handbook. Contact your mechanic for professional assistance. This has been Brendan from Watto Training. Thanks for watching.